All right, the grand finale. Let's get her done. We're going to discuss our final winter holiday for this region that we've made, the culture that we've developed. We're going to talk about all of this as it ties in. I mean, this isn't going to be like the purdy bow that is going to tie it all up, though this is going to stand amongst the others as well. Let's put the player's handbook away, since I was looking to see if there's any material components for the Zone of Truth for hashtag reasons. Here is the summary of the villain on which our final holiday prompt is based. The villain is a fae with a mysterious goal. So we're not exactly sure. This could lend to some kind of trickster. A trickster entity. This could lead to just, it's the mystery of the gods, and we're never going to understand because we can't. We're mortals. The objective of the villain is to carry out a deity's or an archfey or something, some other higher power's wishes. We have our villain is a servant of a greater power. The method that we rolled is through torture, specifically acid. And this is kind of where things are going to get interesting with how we want to turn this perhaps into a holiday based on things that we might know from our own cultures and religions, from all the places we're from and all the people that we know. The villain's weakness is that a hidden object holds the villain's soul. So just how coming to terms with things was the defeat of our prior villain, because that's why the villain exists, because he can't come to terms. He cannot come to terms with what happened, and if he does, then his villainous reign ends. Here, a hidden object holds the villain's soul. We rolled that the villain in question manifests as a dragon tortle. So you have a dragonborn or you have a tortle. Pineapple pen them together and you have a dragon tortle, who also, of all the sheer chances, is a monk way of the long death. Of all the classes and then all the subclasses, for 3 of our 4 prompts, we got this mortal bend, this way of the long death. Which is why mortality, finality, longevity, learning about, moving on and not living in the past is so prevalent, because that is what this society is built around, is built upon, is finality. Even the place that was built up over it, that this, Pompeii style civilization that the dragon, or not the dragon, the volcano erupted over. And so we have a character who's not quite a specter like the others, but this was someone who ended up, perhaps succumbing to the fickle nature of the gods or a particular god or goddess. So all of you out there have access to Fickle God, because it's a VTTV emote for us. So if you type capital F Fickle, no space, capital G God, that is our Tuesday example of just such an entity. So we have someone who might have been cursed or tricked, especially by a fae. And you know what? Our setting even accounted for this prior when we were developing it, because there is a permanent portal to another plane of existence that is here. We have almost I was going to say Underdark. It's not Underdark. A Shadowfell style area with this city of the past. There could then also be kind of a Feywild equivalent that is opened up. And in fact, that could have even been a part of what caused the volcano. But that is folklore for another day. So we have a lady who, may very well have been a tortle or even a dragonborn. We have aquatic races that lived here. Was a fisher, fished all the rivers. Still now, but even before, All of this were riverlands from all the snowmelt coming down from these distant mountains. The volcano erupted, water collected at its base, in it, it's seeping through, slow-moving water, it creates a swamp. Here's our terrain. So there's plenty of sea life and things for this fisher to catch. And she has a fishing story as per this background in Ghosts of Saltmarsh. She once caught an animal whose fins were pure gold. Almost sounds like the beginning of a limerick. But another fisher stole it. And so here is where the story begins, where we have an individual who might have very well caught an altered form of a god, goddess, or a fae patron. And someone else had stolen it. It could even be the miser, the kind of miser villain up there, if you want to tie them together. You know, Greek mythology, there were stories that stood alone, but you could also put them together as things happened over time, or that they could reference each other back and forth. You know, she paints beautifully, makes constant jokes or puns. We have someone who had, who had this rather merry soul, and thought that she caught, a fortune. Though it did come perhaps as divine punishment in some way, because her flaw or secret is that she did a crime or had a misdeed. She might have fished where she ought not have fished, and in fact she felt, oh, I was sneaky and I was rewarded, and I caught this this creature with golden fins, but then there was a curse. The theme of the character that would lend itself to the holiday were cycles of life, the eternal searching for something, just straight up tragedy and cruelty. This could be a very downer holiday. You know, there are holidays like this all around the world. And, you know, of course, depending on your disposition and how you look at it, you know, you might look at Memorial Day. You might look at Memorial Day like this is a very sad holiday. I mean, sure, you know, it's a time to remember, but the reason why we're remembering in the past and not still making memories with those right now are because of the tragedies that befell those individuals and the families thereafter. You know, you look at the kind of, you look at in Christianity, there's Good Friday, but if you look at it, it's not exactly the best Friday, given what happened. You know, so there are just times of reflection, and there are moments that we might not set out. We might not set out cookies for a visitor, or we might not wear anything especially fancy, but it is a day to remember a tragedy. It is a day to, maybe just to lay low for a day. Or just to remember as well, a very powerful lesson. The gods can just be straight up cruel. And we have a civilization that was the victim of this cruelty. I mean, what else would you ask people who believed in a god or a pantheon of them, and then had their entire Pompeii society consumed by a volcano and replaced with aquatic folk at some point, or became aquatic folk due to a curse or a mutation because we were painting with all the colors of the water, not the wind. Pardon. And so this would be like a day of remembrance. This would be maybe more of a solemn day, even a day to stay inside, because this creature comes around. You know, we said torture and acid. We explain things like the seasons also through myth. Look at how, according to the Greeks, how did we get winter? How does winter happen? Do any of you out there know or remember? That's not exactly a joyful process. And that's just with the gods. This is gods on god level who are doing this stuff to each other. Let alone an interaction with a mere mortal. And, I mean, we can even just talk about Zeus as a singular... I guess we'll say Zeus is quite the interloper in people's lives, internally and externally. And if we have this, then that there was an old society that, you know, we had an ancient Greece that was consumed, still left relics and cultures and maybe some stories that survived and changed. Just how Roman mythology, you know, Roman gods were based upon the Greek gods, but, you know, it came later. It was more modern, you know. Zeus, yuck. We're into Jupiter now. I don't know what you're talking about. And this is what this holiday is about. The whole searching. The searching for a golden treasure can very well be representative of searching for the sun to return to the sky from the winter solstice, or just from wintertime. Honestly, from the equinox until the solstice is a process of breaking down. Trees lose their leaves. You know, creatures try to fatten up and they go into hibernation, and then the winter is a period of eating into those fat stores. Winter is a time of eating into the contents of your root cellars, or equivalent in an amphibious society. It is a time of eating. It is a time of entropy. It is a time of dissolution. That is represented. So we had the method torture acid before we put anything else together. But we have someone now who is searching for the gold and is willing to dissolve anyone who might hold that treasure inside them. Which could even put this villain, this quote-unquote villain, at odds with the other villain who steals things and squirrels them away. It could be Persephone going into Hades. Although in this case, Persephone is going into Hades and then is willing to alien blood all over over Ares, and then getting out of there herself with the prize before Ares regenerates and steals it back again. And of course, this is regarding the Fae. The Fae could either be a god or could be an interloper, a powerful agent that isn't a god but might be a demigod or a manifestation, an avatar in some way. But we have someone who lived a good life as a fisher. She did something she ought not have done. Was thought that she had won. She caught the golden prize, and then the golden prize ended up as a moral lesson, and also to kind of forcefully recruit this person, for the sake of the story, or for the sake of this could have actually happened. This is D&D. It's a fantasy world. It's your fantasy world. Then another agent came by and stole the entity's golden fins. And so the entity, it could have been a turtle, to turn the dragonborn or something else into this dragon turtle, into this creature that breathes steam and has a shell and whatnot. Twists her body. In fact, this could even be, dare I say, everyone, because remember, these were all randomly rolled prompts. This could be how we, if we're the Vidalcan and Merfolk, saw ourselves change from this avian race of sirens or others that dwelt in the plains at the base of the mountains into an aquatic race. Is actually, we're cursed. We have a kind of an original sin that we carry. And until the fins are found, until the light shines on us once more, or we win favor through this pursuit, then we are cursed to walk as we do. And so there are many smaller lessons that can be taught through this fable to children or to reaffirm amongst others. This is why you listen to mom and dad. Don't go over there, because you might turn into a turtle. Or, you know, some such. We can get to that with the expressions that are later to come. But this has all the makings of a classic cautionary tale. It sets up a boogeyman, and it can also still be a holiday, just a time of remembrance. It could be an observation, you know, almost like on Samhain. You just want to let the spirits roll past you. Stay inside, set something out for them, light a jack-o'-lantern to fool them or ward them off, and just stay inside and reflect. Then go out and do your winter stuff. Just don't eat crops, because it's eating crops after Samhain's taboo, because those were left out for the Fae, and it's theirs. But what if we want to be a turtle? Well, I like titles. It's a very valid question, Big Sam, and every family is going to have to work through that, because every family had the one child that wanted to be a turtle. A fighting turtle, trained in martial arts, at that. That makes constant jokes or puns. And paints beautifully. Like some sort of Renaissance artist named Michelangelo. And, is very curious about things also, because he's not the smartest and asks a lot of questions. Apparently there's a yellow birthmark somewhere on her head, too. Oh no, Twitch is getting silly again. Oh, shoot. You know, if you need to, Greenwald, if it helps, you can always put us into audio mode as well, since a lot of what we do is just narration. Ultimately, she, you know, while being a villain, while representing entropy and apathy and just in this degradation, she has the ideal of goodness. She's trying to, you know, she's this tragic character that's been transformed from the norm by the nuclear goop. And pizza is the food that's sure to please. This ninja loves pepperoni and cheese. Now, back to the story, it's not hard to find. Ninjas are not just of the body, but of the mind. And those were the words that their master instructed. But a letter from Shredder had Splinter abducted. The birthmark is a golden fish. And you know what, Lord Azrael? That could end up being one of the symbols that we see, is a golden fish. But yeah, so she goes around, is a representation of decay, of seeking, you know, of melting away the superficiality to go for that, you know, that gold. Right? She wants to make up for this. She's living a miserable life. She's we have another transformed person who carries around another kind of regret, another set of you are a bad person circumstances that act as a moral, well, in this case, not really well, I guess a lighthouse in a sense. We're warning of a danger. Big Sam Pizza, an interdimensional commonly accepted foodstuff. Yeah, so if any of you ever do go spell jamming, make sure that you have a pizza oven aboard your spelljammer, and you'll be able to go where you need to go. The point of the holiday explains the scarcity of food, patience, light, and other things that accompany this time of year. As well, it teaches a moral lesson about the gods and, by extension, listening to your... I mean, I guess I could say elders, but maybe like listening to your betters in whatever this society contemplates. Else you'll be transformed by shame, guilt, or obligation. Real quick. Fishing, eating fish. And we also said that turtles, prior, were a part of this too. Eating fish, turtles, or other seafood. Although they don't live by a saltwater body, but, you know, we call it seafood. I live by Lake Erie. I have access to wonderful fresh perch. It does not come from the sea, but perch is seafood. Aquatic life. A primary tradition during this time, what would be a tradition? You know, we have a gift-giving holiday. We have a holiday of kind of dressing up. We have a holiday of togetherness and community. We have a holiday on reflecting on oneself and even one's impending demise. What would be a tradition born from a holiday that has this figure as its personification? It could just, it could even be scary stories told in the dark. Scary monster stories or scary stories of the past. Themes of horror. I mean, even in, you know, in, the Christmas Carol, chestnuts for roasting, marshmallows for toasting, and, like cuddling by the fire. Then there's, scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. So this could be scary stories. So, you know, again, not that Christmas is the ultimate winter holiday. It's a common touchstone that we can all hit upon in many instances, regardless of our faith or culture, simply because it does exist on so many levels, from commercial to secular, to pagan to Christian to it's a lot of things for a lot of different people. So this is it's a tradition of telling stories, and even and this is even honoring the gods, if only out of fear. This could be a very holy day, where, you know, this is a day spent in prayer and thanks to the gods for not smiting us, or for when we have our own mistakes. You know, the other sort of interpersonal forgiveness, but this is, you know, please, God, goddess, or plurals, don't smite me, don't turn me into a turtle. Turtles get eaten in this society. I will be who I'll be who I have to be. Or I will do what I'm told by those who have, you know, given me the instruction to do it. Common symbols: golden fish and turtles, or dragon turtles. Tradition might be feeding or caring for aquatic life as well. So I guess everyone goes and, I guess, makes an offering. Well, you know, because the others are about the harvest and the end of them. In a sense, it wouldn't necessarily be a harvest festival, but this would almost be like a Thanksgiving, except we're going out and fattening up the turkeys. Like, we know what's going to happen after, but for this time, you know, hunting season is off, and we're actually going to go and throw corn into the woods for the deer, or the equivalent here in this swampy aquatic area. Honoring the gods and fattening up the aquatic life. Common colors: gold/yellow. And so let's see. We have turtles. We talked about some alligators as well. You know, I'm thinking like yellow and green. That also conveys that kind of feeling of acid, that feeling of danger, even like a creepy, you know, because we have a swamp. There's definitely will-o-wisps. In fact, this character might even be an explanation for the will-o-wisps of the swamp, or the swamp ghast if you don't want your will-o-wisps to be undead like the Monster Manual. So I think like something like gold and yellow. And like a bright green. Decorations. What if we have something? Yeah, like a pond scum green. Yeah, there we go, Death. Common decoration. What if there's something almost like... What if there's something almost like a piñata, where every house puts up, I don't know, X amount of like piñatas. Inside one of them are the golden fins to the fish or the turtle. Maybe different households claim it's one or the other. No, it's a golden fish. No. In our house, it's always been a turtle that lost its fins. It starts some feuding. It's probably causes an uproar. Like, you got like the two factions that say a prayer differently by like one or two words, and suddenly, well, we can't be neighbors anymore because. All right, well. So common decorations might be, it could even be people, if not animals, because this is more a time of, I guess, like, not animal worship, but, you know, the animals are what they are. And so common decorations could be piñatas of people shapes, and one contains golden fins that fall out once opened. I'll leave it at that. Once opened. Piñatas of people shapes and contains golden fins that fall out once opened, that are then placed on the family fish/turtle in order to appease the... So if we said the Fae might have had something to do with the downfall of the old society or something, then perhaps the Fae is regarded and even feared, but maybe isn't seen as a natural entity of this place. You know, it is, you know, the alien deity / patron. And you know what? If not a piñata, you know what might work better? There's a tradition down south in the United States. Have any of you ever heard of, it's the King's Cake? Have any of you ever participated in that or heard of it? A King's Cake? Big Sam, you haven't. Death? Death, can you back me up on this? Uh-oh. One second. Here it comes. Oh, okay, so you have death. All right. For all of you out there, what a king cake or king's cake is, a galette de roi. There's a link for you over to it. And so what they could actually make then are people, like people cakes. And so the family actually eats people to find the golden fins inside one of them. Or, again, they can be made into an effigy of some kind, someone you don't like, or into vague other entities. Every house might have something a little bit different. Yep. Death knows. Thank you, Death. Thank you for backing me up, Death. Death has my back. So instead of pinatas, cakes, or I don't know about cakes. Whatever. It's amphibious. It's aquatic. This can be a placeholder. We get the idea. People-shaped food. People-shaped foods are prepared, and one contains golden fins that are revealed when cut into and consumed, that are then placed on the family fish or turtle in order to appease the alien deity or patron from destroying this new society after the old. So they don't worship this force. They may not even really believe in the force, but it is reverently considered as a destructive trickster, or as someone that could be playful, but then wrathful. You know, playful. I'm going to turn into a fish and I'm going to let you catch me. Oh, that'll be fun. I've never had that done before. Fisher person goes and does it in a place that she wasn't supposed to go, or is prophesized, or there's a lot of lead-ins to this, and yet it happened. Okay, you got me. And she's like, well, I'm going to take you home and show everyone. No one's going to believe me. And then somewhere along the line, you know, she gets waylaid, and now this finless turtle or fish, depending on apparently which side of town you live on, or whatever, got very upset and transformed her into this dragon turtle, this kind of wretched thing that hungers and eats and consumes its way across the lands and the skies, ever in search of the golden treasure. Again, you know, symbolism for the sun and trying to get it to return to the sky, the vernal equinox, and so that's how we have torture and acid involved through process and also through eating. We have yellows and greens, which are wonderful colors of bile in the body, and also just sort of like acidy colors. And even in its own sense, the nice yellow sun and the green spring we hope will come soon. It's disgusting and beautiful at the same time, and that's what helps make for a wonderful myth. There are moral lessons to it. There's honestly just this straight up, the gods don't care about you. So keep your head low, do what you're told, and hopefully you won't get hit by a lightning bolt. I think it was even brought up in here, it was brought up in here at the end of the week, I think, that if you lived in ancient Rome, your body would not be given a funeral if you died by being struck by lightning. because everyone said, "Nuh-uh." The gods didn't want to have anything to do with you. And so that body was taboo. I mean, in so much that the gods from Olympus and the heavens themselves struck this person with lightning. They don't deserve a proper burial or proper rites because they're done. They're gonzo. I have heard of Three Kings Day, but it's not as ingrained in my memory as others are. But yes, but if we want to base some things on cultures and traditions like this, you know, so if there's a Three Kings Day, it has something like that. The Trail of Grass, well, maybe there is a Trail of Lily Pads. It follows the path of you know, this consumer. Yeah, I mean, if you're just straight up smited by Zeus, no one wants a piece of that. You know, you're left for the animals at that point, because... well, so I guess we had common decorations. Really, the common foods should probably come down here as well. So maybe I don't know, maybe there's things that are hung up to make us consider, like, the gold. Maybe in this case, the gold's actually a bad thing. If there's that little bit of trickster in us all, you know, these fins that, of course, this agent's been sent out to gather, you know, kind of against her will. She doesn't want to have to eat you, but she will, because she has to make up for this this crime, for crossing the people, the authority, or something like that. So actually, the foods here shows the plants to represent the wanderings of the cursed agent. Small figures strung about with yellow or gold circles or dots on them or in them. You know, any of us could have been the thief that condemned her and thereby condemned us to be stalked. And so if we're talking generally humanoid, well, in this case we have Vidalcan and merfolk, but these are merfolk with legs, not tails, given the type that we rolled up. So yes, small figures strung about with yellow or gold circles or dots on them or in them. And so these could even act as lures away so that this creature will pass us by and not tear us open or try to eat us or dissolve us, to, you know, because we don't have those fins. Hey, Derek. So, Derek, we're talking about melting people with acid and searching through their organs for treasure. How are you? Macabre organ vor Derek. How was San Antonio tonight, my friend? Did y'all have did you have a blast? You won best line tonight in San Antonio by night? Lay it on us, Derek. The bump set and Spike. All right. We need 3 sayings, greetings, curses. What are 3 things said? You know, it could be something simple and passing. Happy Hanukkah. You know, it could be. It could just be a reminder of some kind. It could even be like a careful, like, woeful warning or just a curse of, you know, may the blah 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 and the blah blah blah. Explaining to my Tremere childer their condition. You are a wizard, Carlos. You mean like Harry Potter? Who? Yeah, Urian wouldn't be hip to that, would he? So you accidentally walked into a meme. You know, this is what the older vampires have to worry about with Childer and Modern Knights here. You know, we all thought it was quaint when young Dr. Emmett Brown was worried about the gravitational fluctuations in the future because Marty McFly kept calling everything heavy. Older vampires who sire Childer and Modern Knights have to contend with these pop culture references that are pervasive, travel quickly, or there's just the fact that you just embraced a shitposting meme lord. Congratulations. The Golden Fins, thieving, regret being cursed by the gods, I mean, if we're talking curses, a curse is just that. Turtle curse upon you. So if you're feeling angry with someone, vengeful, especially this time of year, wish upon them the turtle curse. This is a lot more of a downer, negative, reflective holiday. So it's not a time of the Who's and Whoville getting together. Turtle curse upon you. Not that you have to go out of your way and really insult other people. What would be something else? An expression of the things that we see, that we feel in our modern day. An expression of guilt. I feel golden. And by the way, this is your right as a dungeon master to take something you know and to turn it into a pun or to flip it over. I'm feeling golden. To us is, yeah. To them, I'm feeling golden is I feel miserable or sick or guilty. Oh my. Derek. Thank you very much. But I thought we promised that even with that clandestine passphrase that this would... I'm just kidding. You know what this is about. I'm gonna wake up with a horse head next to me here. Or we're talking about fish. Am I gonna have my body rolled up in newspaper and thrown from a moving truck? That's right. In the words of one macabre Derek, pay your boons, kid. That is sage advice for all the poetics of a beast I am, lest a beast I become, and all the wisdom of the Camarilla, or if you prefer the Camarilla. That's how I quote unquote grew up learning how to say it. So it's difficult for me to auto default to Camarilla with the hard L's. Not that that's an improper pronunciation. If it comes down to it, the golden rule. The golden rule. Which, I mean, to an extent, if you want to treat others like you want to be treated yourself, It could apply to Vampire Society, but honestly, the vampiric golden rule, always pay your boons. You pay your boons, you're good. You don't pay your boons, you bad. Good things happen to good people. Bad things happen to bad people. And you know what? Sometimes bad things happen to good people, but if good people have good credit because they've paid their boons, bad things happen to bad people that happen to good people. Death says, did I see PAX? The Penny Arcade Q&A had mostly red envelopes spilling out of a rubber horsehead mask. No, I didn't. Though, I mean, what a reference, right? And then you'll get Urian Doyle. Can you explain Urian's exception or exceptional application of the payment of wounds? So for any of you out there who are wondering, have you seen... now, these are my words, not yours, Derek. Have you seen the movie Snatch? I'm talking about a normal R-rated movie, directed by Guy Ritchie. A very good film that I recommend you watch, especially if you love heists and D&D and all this other stuff. There is a character in that movie named Bricktop. Urian will tell you what the word nemesis means. And he even might have domain over countryside with pig farms. Metaphorical or literal. He might actually have some domain with pig farms on it. Ooh. So, turtle curse upon you. I feel golden. Ugh, I feel horrible. And... plants. Concept of feeding, fattening up the aquatic life. A time of scary stories.
15 months and counting. What a ride. Just got done with essay, now to chill and sleep.
Chill and sleep, yes. So Coffee Cat presents running San Antonio by night, y'all. Y''ALL. Just so you know. Let me give Coffee Cat presents a little shout out here for Vampire the Masquerade, and you can also catch him doing some caffeine fixes, which are art streams. Thank you for thank you very much for stopping by, even though you're on your way to bed. I'm glad you had a great session. 15 months coffee. It's been a hell of a ride. So thank you, and cheers, brother, for 15 more and beyond. I caught Derek on a self-censor. Yeah, do you know what nemesis means? A righteous infliction of retribution manifested by an appropriate agent, personified in this case by a horrible see you next Tuesday, me. If they're merfolk, walk on water could be a desire for someone to be as swift on land. In this case, they actually are, Lord, because they don't have tails. They actually do have legs. These are merfolk that are from the... not Ixalan. They are from the Zendikar setting. So they actually have legs. It's just that their fingers and toes are webbed, and they have some other fins and whatnot, I think, on their legs to help propel them. 20 episodes. How time flies, Coffee. However, oh, you know what? If you're feeling strange or something that would be kind of weird and foreign to people who live in the water and out of it, but never necessarily on it, walking on water. It was so good too. Much choice. Much choices in like where to go, or like decisions were made, like power plays. What was this, a power play episode, Coffee Cat? Because Derek certainly sounds like he's the cat that got the cream with Urian here. How bad it could have been. A feeding episode? I don't suppose, Coffee Cat, that we can catch that in a VOD or on YouTube at some point, huh? Alright, I need 2 song titles. And what type of a song are they? You know, we could have something that's almost like a... Do you know in the Disney Sleepy Hollow cartoon how... it wasn't Braum. Or was it Braum? Who was the kind of Gaston figure in that? That sang the song that tried to, like, creep everyone out? Like, he tried to scare Ichabod, but it was the tale about the galloping headless horseman. Yeah, oh, yeah, hang on, Coffee. It is, I'm flying solo tonight here. So... "60 seconds! Go, 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 go!" Hey, hot dogs! Welcome! Good to see you here. We're having a fantastic session. Fantastic. Even fantastic. It's 2 song titles. So we have the song about we could have it was like a cautionary tale, like a kind of a spooky folk song. You know how there's like stealing away in the night? Well, we had someone steal something from someone else who was stole away in the night. And that's what led to this mutation, to this becoming an agent of this creature to get its fins back, and by melting, by eating other people to try and find it. The one that stole away, folklore, spooky song. And something that also explains the natural cycle of winter, why the days shorten, things are starting to reduce down. There's a hunger. The world seems to eat its reserves during the winter time. Stuff like this are probably going to be mostly resigned to things like folklore songs. Like nothing that's like a super hymn. We do have a society that is built upon the concept of death and dying and decay. Why do I just suddenly have my eye... Maybe a cat hair or something. Something just completely geeked out my contact lens. Just out of nowhere. Oh, this is super uncomfortable. One that stole away, and... That which lies inside. Folklore. Cautionary. The darkest of nights for midwinter. Yeah, so this would be kind of a solstice reverence as well. So maybe golden lies, dark insides. There we go. That works, hot dogs. Is there any particular common clothing? Do people wear a particular hat? Is there a time of a costume or a mask that could be worn? Oh, that big ST energy, Coffee Cat. You were brimming with it. The creativity was flowing, it sounds like, and everyone had an awesome time. Just ride that, even if it's gonna put you to sleep. Oh, go to sleep content. Go to sleep absolutely satisfied with how things turned out. Maybe just a reminder. It is taboo to fish or to do that. So perhaps, maybe like a little pin. It's just something to wear to help remind people. Common clothing. An aquatic life pin or some clothing. Which features a fish or turtle, depending on your sect. I will do so, Coffee. When we finish up the workshop here, which is going to be soon because we're almost done here, I still have some more work I got to do. The capsules are going to have a consideration for refill, and there's just some things I got to keep doing when I'm not broadcasting, so I can throw that on and give it a listen. Some common sense. Well, we do have an... remember, this is a swamp. We do have a volcano, sulfurs, and there might be some more acrid smells that are there as a reminder of the process of consuming, of eating, of breaking down. And so it actually would be a case where... it might actually be a case where people have sort of an acrid incense, or an equivalent for those who live more primarily underwater, that they release as a way to act as a subtle reminder that your time to be eaten could be any time, that you could be consumed, that she could arrive and you know, bite you in half to look for the fins inside you, because you could be the thief. Remember, this is kind of like an original sin story tale. An acrid incense or watery equivalent. Brimstone or fresh turned soil scents. Sulfur, brimstone. And so they're not pleasant, but I'll tell you, anytime that you smell those smells, it means there's danger. And you know what? As a parent, do you, you tell these tales to try and warn your kids. Remember, think in history. Think in our human history. Think in mythology. Think of Aesop's fables. Think of cautionary tales in philosophy and religion. And so if you train your kids that if they smell brimstone, bad stuff is happening, like, say, the volcano you live around could be erupting or getting close to, and you want them to run away for their lives, this is also a good way to help them do this. And again, we even said this volcano might even be named after this this creature that had been transformed as a metaphor for the kind of Pompeii that existed, and is now this this hunched figure that's different. And as for a secondary story, I think we've explored that already, and I don't know if that needs a ton of super fleshing out. You know, we can always go back to it, but we have the core tenets of our final holiday. And now we have on this document 4 interesting cultural phenomena that take place if your adventurers, if you are running this setting, happen to be passing through in the monthly equivalent of December, January, February. As we explore their religion, their philosophy, they're fun. There's fun stuff up there too, even though it is a society built more upon death and dying because of this tremendously influential Way of the Long Death monastery for monks. You can flavor it. You've scented the air. You've perfumed the air. You've gone through natural, you know, a geographical timeline and what happened when you were making the map in MS Paint. And yet this is still highly readable, and you can add even some more detail to it if you want to do more for roads or other things. But this absolutely conveys the point. And then you have your other references for how to get in the mood. Or you know what? Do you want to stat up? Do you want to stat up this this cursed being that just wanders the lands and eating people, tearing them open, looking for gold inside? Because we've had that on Tuesday. Her name was Selter. And it's scary. As the one running, even. Not even as the... But no, seriously, you could stat this up as a monster, as sort of like an SCP store style entry. You've populated this region as a DM, even if you're kind of waylaid by a question. Even if you're waylaid by a question, you're comfortable enough that you can put an answer out there, and if you need to retroactively make it enough sense, there's still other things that can, you know, that can be shuffled around to fit. But you can still make those snap decisions and build culture on the fly as is appropriate. Because you've gone through these exercises. This could be a whole campaign setting in itself if you really wanted to, you know, to stat out the grasslands with different different tribes of people and commerce, those who live in these kind of swampy evergreens. And what's with this super tall bravery test blue spruce out here? Well, we didn't roll. We rolled for a chance of a cabin, and unfortunately, Bob Ross did not bless us. So instead, we went for a big spruce instead. There's the mountains, and even beyond. This paint MS Paint picture can be expanded however you'd like, and could even be like zoomed in and detailed if we want to make the tunnels, the old lava tubes that ran through the, you know, this decaying shell of a volcano that's hopefully mostly dormant, and have underwater adventures, underground adventures, underwater adventures. All sorts of fantastic creatures. Aberrations galore in this place. Aberrations because of all the alchemy, because of this weird radiation leaking in from the Feywild, you know, because of just the things that have happened. And so you would have, I'm sure you'd have people who'd be like, I would love to play a ranger in this playground. Because, you know, they can train, they know what they're getting into, and they'd be really exceptional at getting around. Which should not be penalized, by the way, as if you're a dungeon master. You have a friend who says, oh, I want to explore the desert and do all this. You know, presuming you had a conversation, you know, then, you know, hopefully you can still entertain these features. Otherwise, you're just kind of neutering. You're neutering the class. Because of the music, I feel like we need a lake named Crystal with a small cabin site. There is... So this soundtrack's called Crossing the Styx. If you want, there is actually a lakeside camp soundtrack, which has a nice little campfire. It has the lapping of waves on a nice shore, with some very peaceful waters, really close by. I'll flip to you here. Lakeside camp. Shh. We're going camping. A quiet spot off the beaten track. So, ta-da, everyone. We did it. This was an amazing workshop, well, extension week, because we had to make up for the one day that I wasn't able to broadcast. And I had a lot of fun. This is a very compelling thing that all of us have birthed into existence by our big, beautiful brains. And so give yourself some big brain energy right now, everyone. When we come back for the remaining 3 days, we're going to explore on each of these nights the 3 subclasses offered in subclasses 3 Unearthed Arcana. And we'll make some characters around it, around them. And we'll have a lot of fun in that character generation, as we do. For all of you that supported the channel and got some capsules, bought some minis and such, thank you for doing so. Congrats to those who got the cool stuff. I am going to restock these capsules for tomorrow. And Derek, thank you. Odd, yes. Did someone say villains? We just made 2 winter holidays based on 2 villains that we had randomly rolled to generate and create as a personification and base for the holidays that we just finished up in our workshop here.